Recently on the internet, I've seen a lot of people complaining about something called cultural Marxism. From the sounds of things, it's a really big deal.
In my video about Jordan Peterson, I talked about how he posits a struggle between the West and postmodern neo-Marxism.
Marxism, that topic you think you know about because certain YouTube intellectuals screaming about how Marxism is directly opposed to Western values is so hot right now.
I have some trouble understanding what they mean, though. When I look the phrase up on Wikipedia, it redirects to a subheading in an article about the Frankfurt School and calls it a conspiracy theory about Marxists trying to destroy Western culture.
Unless, of course, you equate the West with white people and Marxism with the Jews, which surely no one involved in this conversation is doing, right?
Max Horkheimer and Theodor Adorno were members of the Frankfurt School, which was associated in part with the Institute for Social Research at the Goethe University, Frankfurt. And ultimately, we today might consider them the daddies of critical theory. They were far ahead of their time in that they saw media as a potential lens to culture. With Horkheimer, Adorno produced the blistering Dialectic of Enlightenment in 19...
Dialectical conflicts. Each dialectic begins with a proposition, a thesis.
And thrive from the work and sacrifice of those beneath them. Power relationships between rich and poor people, or boss and worker.
Bram Stoker, more like Gramsci Stoker.
Gramsci was an Italian socialist who saw tearing down society as the necessary precondition for the eventual victory of global Marxism. Marxism simply hadn't won because men were weak. And men were weak because they were the products of a capitalist society, deciding that Marx's dialectic materialism...
It's Hegelian dialectics, not personal animosity.
I was watching an Hbomberguy video and he was talking about how, the precursor to cultural Marxism is cultural Bolshevism, which was something that was coined by Nazis.
Okay.
What's transvestite? That's like fagula, right?
Not me. I'm a transvestite. Magnus had the city issue them to all of us.
Who's Magnus?
I mean,
Magnus is the head of the institute where Gittel works.
What did you do to my boy?
She goes by Gittel.
Gittel? What a horrible name.
It's the name she chose.
So what is this, a circus? A sex circus?
No.
A zoo for fucking? Are you starting a religious...
No, I don't
sex
believe
religion?
in religion. I believe in science. I believe in truth. I believe in reason, in progress. Look around. Look around. You're in my library. You're next to my museum. You're underneath my medical ward. You make fun. This is the future.
Germany will pay war reparations for all damage done to Allied civilians and their property. Responsibility for the outbreak of the war rests solely on German shoulders. But a few of the demands of the Treaty of Versailles. Impossible, you say? It will break us. But don't you see that's the point? They want to break us.
The far left is kind of destroying the West, and that, neo-Marxist postmodernism is, the bane of the West, or whatever.
You might not hate Berlin so much. It's actually quite a lovely city.
I think it's a fantastic city. Oh. If it wasn't for all the Germans living in it, it'd be great.
Of course, the sorts of people who believe this rubbish will tell you it is deliberate because it's supposedly the Jews doing it, which, they think because they're racist morons.
And we look at the history of multiculturalism in Australia. What we find is that some of the individuals who were significant in that movement towards a more pluralistic, open, diverse society were people from the Jewish community.
What's the aim of multiculturalism? When are we multicultural enough? When's the end?
It doesn't end, believe it or not.
It doesn't end until what?
For you, history ends.
There's no more white people left?
They aren't allowed to say it's the Jews doing it, because then they'd lose their platforms for being openly racist. So, because they can't openly blame it on the Jews, I can say it's not deliberate, and therefore not genocide. Even if it was happening, it's not deliberate. It'd just be a demographic change over time. That's not genocide. No white people are getting killed because of this. That's white privilege for you, I guess. We even get the nice version of genocide.
They invent and fetishize an imaginary prelapsarian version of their country that never existed, where everyone was strong and beautiful and acted how they wanted them to, straight out of the good times before the fall in the Bible or any given fantasy novel. They love this made-up version of their country, not the actual country they live in.
With regards to the whole white genocide thing, Just don't worry about it, you know. Demographic change is inevitable. It will happen regardless of what you do. It's not a matter of fighting it or not. It can't be fought. It's just what happens. It's what's always happened, and it's nothing to worry about.
Like,
I see what you're saying.
Ashkenazi Jews are on average smarter than say white people. Or
How is that determined?
I guess we're white too. But.
Oh, we're white too. Okay.
No, it's not like I'm not pointing to some kind of supremacism. I'm just saying that some people, like on the extreme left, what they're going to do is. Or
I don't know who you're talking about. Who? Tell me who. Tell me who.
Anita Sarkeesian would probably say that.
That's because we're all immersed in a patriarchal, misogynist culture from the moment we're born. And as we mentioned earlier, some of the assumptions built into the culture serve to camouflage misogyny.
It was, quite literally, a theory of criticizing everyone and everything everywhere. It was an infinite and unending criticism of the status quo, adolescent rebellion against all established social rules and norms.
When it's part of the cultural air you breathe every single day, it's hard to see it. And it's very easy to accept it as natural and normal, rather than as an oppressive system created by humans.
And then we got off stage, and she puts her finger in my face, and she's like, I don't fucking appreciate what you fucking said up there, knowing I didn't have a chance to fucking respond.
Is she from Gamergate? Oh my god.
Yeah,
Are you
so
serious?
I'm not one of those Gamergate people, but I can probably think of people who would say it.
You are. No one else knows who she is. Adios. For someone who is of the master race, the Ashkenazi Jew, spent a significant portion of history in enclaves studying the Talmud. It just so happened that this group of people said the way that we're going to maintain our identity is to focus on reading and commentary on it.
But the idea of communism came not from the financial laws of the Torah, but from the part of the Torah that speaks about God's role in our lives.
Being no man's land is every man's land. It belongs to me, to you. We all have equal rights to roam around there. And we all have not only the right, but the obligation to study Torah.
Abolition of property in land and application of all rents of land to public purposes. A heavy progressive or graduated income tax. Centralization of
is simply a good that is produced specifically to be exchanged for a profit. Capitalism as a mode of production is this kind of production, commodity production, generalized and perpetuated,
are beginning to stand out. The truth that they are nothing but business is used as an ideology to legitimize the trash they intentionally
which
produce.
recognizes that there are intersections of oppression from both social and economic material factors, but there is no framework
because of
for them to
threats of
solve.
violence. So home values declined, driving down the money collected from property taxes, which denied people of color higher quality education, leading to fewer people of color in high-paying jobs.
Cis-hetero patriarchy describes the supremacy and dominance of cisgender heterosexual men over women and LGBTQ plus people. Society assigns people with a gender at birth, male or female.
That's right. And what do we say about the patriarchy?
Equality rules, patriarchy drools.
Cutting snakes, no! Losers drool.
Nazis. Should we punch them?
You know, punching Nazis is good. You know, I am definitely in the punching Nazi camp.
But what is the solution to capitalism? Is it statism? Is it like giving the government the power? Is it centralized? Revolution. What does that mean?
Revolution.
During the revolutionary period bringing about the transition from capitalism to socialism, the working class will exercise its will over the capitalist class through organized violence. This transitional period is also advocated by Marxists.
Death is a preferable alternative to communism.
Chris Cantwell, one of the leaders of the Unite the Right rally, said, "We are not non-violent. We'll fucking kill these people if we have to."
I feel so bad for people who are still stuck in this mind frame of working out our differences with the left. It's so liberating, you know, when you come to the conclusion that blood is the only answer. It's so frustrating trying to convince people of things which seem obvious to you. And once you realize that leftists are subhuman animals who do not experience the world like we do, you realize that killing them seems no more immoral than putting this fucking steak on a grill.
Well, this is why leftists
hate you. This is why they hate right-wingers, because they don't do enough to speak out against assholes like you.
The enemies of leftists should want violence, and increasingly, they're preparing for it. We should and do want violence because that's the only goddamn way these animals will ever stop trying to strip our fucking carcasses. We can crush them by force anytime we want, and the only reason we don't do it is because we have a sense of decency that our rivals simply lack. And if we can't see the threat of that dynamic, then we don't deserve to survive this conflict.
Fuck who are calling for my death and the death of all trans people. Yeah. Fuck you. I'm not afraid of you.
Okay, let's address that quickly.
Crisp Cream says, Mr. Meyer, degenerates like you belong on a cross.
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 Communism is a lie.
The fundamental premise is to envision history as a sequence of dialectical conflicts. Each dialectic begins with a proposition,
blistering dialectic
a thesis
of enlightenment
that
in
it be
1944 after the
It's
pledge of the
Hegelian
US,
dialectics,
penning a devastating
not
indictment on the integration of film into capitalist industrial production and consumption into what Adorno and Hbomberguy describe as the culture industry. According to Adorno and Hbomberguy,
the eyes of the mighty Caesar are upon you. Don't worry. I won't have you lashed to a cross like the rest of these degenerates. I do not require the services of a degenerate such as yourself. Where to begin? That you are weak and we are strong? This much was known already. But the depths of your moral sickness, your disillusion? Nipton serves as the perfect object lesson. Our culture is based on virtues such as martial excellence, loyalty, and justice. Caesar is the salvation of mankind. His legion the rebirth of civilization in a benighted age.
If there's anything I learned as a follower of the apocalypse, it's that there's a lot of good information in old books. The fundamental premise is to envision history as a sequence of dialectical conflicts. Each dialectic begins with a proposition, a thesis, which inherently contains or creates its opposite, an antithesis. Thesis and antithesis. The conflict is inevitable. The NCR has all the problems of the ancient Roman Republic. Extreme bureaucracy, corruption, extensive senatorial infighting. Human civilization descended to a level of ignorance that effectively set our cultural progress back to zero. Democracy has been its weakness, not its strength. In Rome, I found a template for a society equal to the challenges of the post-apocalyptic world, a society that could and would survive. It dedicated its citizens to something higher than themselves, to the idea of Rome itself, a society that could prevent mankind from fracturing and destroying itself in this new world by establishing a new Pax Romana. It means a nationalist, imperialist, totalitarian, homogenous culture that obliterates the identity of every group it conquers. A leader shouldn't have to kowtow to those who serve him. Like I said, there's a lot you can learn from old books.
We need to actually take the reins of power from them.
Woman of the West, you will learn your place. If you seek to stand against me, you shall fall as the West falls. Your reliance on comfort, it rots you from the inside. You are in need of the teachings the Legion will bring to your people. The people of the West were once tribes. They will relearn their ways, or...
We can do better. You're damn right we got this.
We shall see how brave you are when nailed to the walls of Hoover Dam. Your body facing west so you may watch your world die.
Culture is an odd thing. Sometimes a tribe grows tired of its identity, grabs for an opportunity to reimagine itself. The question is, are you ready to get started?
True to Caesar.